Good morning, my fellow travelers on spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy. Let's see, what other cool. What's Minimal House? I don't know, let's find out. They've added a whole bunch of music all of a sudden to the music directory, so I'm like, let's play some of these things. What could possibly go wrong? So, there we go. There we go. We've gotten ourselves started this morning, and all is going relatively swimmingly. So let's switch to our drawing monitor. This is where we were yesterday. And then we got all sidetracked on the idea of a motorcycle, which we're okay with. So, all right. So we've left. We need to do a one scene or two scene through here where we talk about something before we come back to the scene with Max. Good morning, Colton. How are you doing? Hey, Colton. What were you standing in front of in your new background picture on Facebook? Like there's some kind of huge machinery behind you that's on a turntable. So I was wondering, what were those things that were on turntables? Were they just cranes, or was there more to it? Because it looked pretty cool. These are all the things I want to know now. Like, Mare Island. Oh, okay. So those are big World War II cranes for making ships. It's pretty kick ass. Just wanted to say I like that picture a lot. Like I was like, you mean Rosie the Riveter? Hmm. Hmm. I always thought she was into aircraft, or she was from an aircraft construction. But I guess ship construction makes just as much sense. I mean, Yeah, I figured. But you can get to it. How'd you get to the island? Did you just like hop a boat, random boat, just like, well, we're going to this abandoned island if you want, you know? I have a very loud dog. Very much wants all of us to know that that's its territory. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Gotcha. All right. Oh, yeah, I gotcha. So they're trying to repurpose it, make it into something completely different. Especially if you're on an island. Hey, come out here for business. No, really. We're not isolated by a lot of water around us. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Yeah. Why would we ask you to make a business here? Honestly, it's going to be great. There'll be lots of people here. Yeah. I can imagine that. I can imagine it's just like really awesome. I'm still stumped on this. I've got to go to another scene here for like, I just need just a little bit of a transition. I mean, really, honestly, it doesn't have to be that complex. I could just have a two pager where let's just do Chang and Bennett. You joining me? Yeah, joining me, brother.
I figured it was easier.
Yeah, we could keep talking, or you could just join me.
I was like, oh, I can tell you about my trip because it was awesome.
Yeah. Sounds awesome to me.
No, I had a blast. Yeah, no, so yeah, that's like the Rivet Girls, the Rosie the Riveter, like.
Yeah, like I said, I thought that was an airplane, but the only reason I thought that is because, you know, Mandala.
I think that's where they started, was in the shipyards.
Right.
And then she moved over and became famous for the planes. But I think that's what all happened, because I was talking to my teachers about it, because they like know so much history about everything in the Bay Area. They're like, no, this is where the Rivet Girls were. And I was like, the Rivet Girls? Like, the Rivet Girls? Like, yeah, you know, the Rivet Girls. I was like, no, okay, this is cool.
Yeah. I mean, I totally believe you. I absolutely believe you. But I was just like, huh.
Also, it's like my first time I can actually show off my new place. So, hey, it works too.
Check out your new place.
Yeah, I got everything all set up now. Ish.
Your new place is back here in Colorado, right?
Yeah, for right now.
I'm like, you didn't.
So the main point of that trip was to finally go meet teachers that teachers and friends was part of the thing. I'm like, oh, I've been meeting you guys since 2020. Actually want to get to know who you people are, yada, 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 you know.
total sense.
Actually go like, let's go out there and have fun. But my actual point of that trip really was to go talk to the heads of my department and administration and everything. And that's the reasoning why is because financial aid is capping me after next semester. So instead of trying to figure out how to do everything virtually and all this other stuff, I went out there to actually talk to them about that. Like, hey, what can we do? What can I do? Is it more beneficial for me to be out here? Rent's about the same depending on where you're at compared to Denver. So and they're like, yeah, which is funny because the head of my department, Goodwine is his last name, his kids live out here. And he's like, yeah, I noticed that. It's been kind of interesting watching my kids going, I'm paying how much? Because one lives in Boulder, the other one lives in Centennial. So.
Yeah, I mean, that I hate to say this, but that's one of the reasons why we're struggling so hard to keep this house. You know,
I know.
And it's because this house came, we bought this house before everything went stupid insane.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever.
Interest rates and everything are just all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I've got another problem showing up. A friend of mine, about 6 months ago, a friend of mine and I were talking, and he said that there's like a teaching position at Amazon where you go in, you learn the job of other
Amazon, people. The company?
Amazon, like the company, cool. Amazon. So you go in, you learn what the job is, then you go teach people that job.
Okay.
You know, make sure that they're following compliance and all of that stuff. And it's effectively a teaching job, and they tend to hire teachers into it.
Does it pay well?
About the same, but it's 40 hours. So.
Yeah, because yours is kind of part-time, isn't it?
Yeah, my school right now is part-time, and it mostly always is. Yeah. You know, because I'm usually on the weekends, you know. But the problem I've got now is, well, I start school in a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do, I'm not going to have a lot of time. The question really is, should I take that job that's going to make me have to decide whether I want to take or whether I can keep the school?
Right.
You know, it's
because
it's a full-time 40-hour. Well, it's going to take me 40 hours to do my homework and schoolwork and stuff, I would presume, as it should, you know.
Depending on your class and depending on the workload.
Yeah. And then I'd have another 20 hours or so in my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be getting a lot of great money. I wouldn't be poor. I also would not have so much as a minute to myself, you know?
Yeah, it definitely. You're balancing out the reason why I'm only like a part-time student.
Well, yeah, except that I can't afford to be a part-time student because I can't afford to have this all stretch out to 10 or 15 years.
I know.
I don't have 10 or 15 years of work time left. You know, it's when you're 51 years old, you start looking at this going, well, you're 15 years to retirement.
Oh, I know.
You know,
I'm right there with. I get that.
Really rough.
I sit here every day going, oh, I should have had this done by now.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I need to figure it out and go out there. And the cool part about it was that I actually got to meet my teachers, but also got to sit in for like 2 days in class.
Yeah.
With everybody and actually see what the difference between an online class and a in-person class really is. I was like, this is where it's at. Like, I really enjoyed it, where I could actually be there all day doing class and then figure out everything else like throughout the week. Like, that's so much nicer than me trying to do so much online.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do feel like I do more online than what they do in class. Because every time I've taken like a Zoom class where I actually in a virtual classroom with my teachers and everything, and they're always like, oh yeah, this is blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel less stress because I'm like, we just sat here for 4 or 5 hours, did majority of our homework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my thought too. I mean, I know that these streams are going to turn into homework time for me.
Oh yeah, that's
as we move into school.
Mm-hmm. I've thought about it. I thought I would just throw like on those nights where I'm just here by myself, just doing my thing. I thought about just throwing up my own stream and just working.
Yeah. Or join mine or whatever.
I mean, that's if you're not on. Well, see, usually time when I'm like in crunch mode.
Yeah, I know.
Is when you're not doing the streams because it's like the 2 days you don't turn it on at like 11 o'clock at night or something.
Right. The weekend.
Yeah. Usually I'm crunching on the weekends, and like during the week I'm just watching videos and doing discussion channels and stuff like that. Nothing art related, really. Project related. Let me phrase that.
There's some bird. It's magpie, and he's over here. He's stuck to the side of my house, and he's pecking on the siding. Very weird. I'm assuming he was getting bugs off the siding, which is fine. I'm all about this plan. Please take bugs away from the house. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not offended. I'm just saying, or join my stream is an option as well. Oh, when applicable.
Yeah, I mean that's like today. Like, I don't
join my stream.
I'm actually off today, and I was awake, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna come in here with you.
Right.
That's also the other part that sucks, is me being on completely opposite hours.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. It was such a good trip, though. I'm trying to think of how to do something like that here. I just don't know enough people that actually want to go outside and do art sketching and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
I know it's cold out today. Like during like the winter, yes, but I mean like once spring hits, I'm thinking about trying to get like a group together or something.
I'm in. Please.
Just go draw. Like find because
I was doing that as well. Looking at just get the old sketch pad going.
Yeah. Get out. Like I had a teacher, we were all sitting in that bit, like so my picture of me sitting in the chair drawing and whatnot. I have a teacher who was right next to me. He drew. There was 30 of us in this big, huge circle of chairs that we all put together at this coffee shop there, and he literally drew every single person there the hour that we were sitting there.
Nice.
It was so cool. Let me see if I can find these pictures. Hold on. I know I took. I actually. I think I stole them just because I want them as reference. I was like, I gotta see these.
I went and did some, rudimentary signing up and things like that. And I was looking around at all the clubs, and I joined the Japanese club naturally.
Nice.
But I'm like, I'm going to join the art club. I mean, yeah, it has absolutely zero to do with my major or minor, has nothing to do with anything I'm doing, but I don't think I can stop drawing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's a part of my soul that wouldn't work anymore. I'd be like, so I don't think I can stop drawing. So like you're saying, I want to kind of do, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to join you. You know what I mean? Like, as in, I got to find a way to be out there with you on this, because unless it's directly opposite a class or something.
Well, that's where like I'll randomly pick. I'll probably just do the same thing like that what we did, which is we just randomly pick a day.
Yeah,
and
Brent, join us.
Yeah, come on out, Brent. But yeah, I mean that was also the cool part too. We had like 3 or 4 people that was with us that don't draw. They were just there hanging out, talking with each other, just to get outside, do something.
Just get out of the house. Absolutely.
That's all they did. I was like, this is cool. Let's see here. And that was the cool part about it. I was like, you guys are just like, I thought it was just going to be us and whatnot, but no, they literally were like, nope, we're going to grab everybody. I'm like, this is cool. All right, here you go.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, there we go.
That's pretty wicked.
Boom. There we go. That's bigger. So yeah, see, he like started. Here's me, and then there's like all these people that were with us all the way through. That were just all hanging out. We even had a child there with us too.
That's so cool.
And he just did this on this like nice 2-page spread. It was so good. Like Gary's like, and then he did this.
A gazebo, just
Yeah,
random.
there was a gazebo with like all this nice foliage and all that stuff. Like I did a piece from that. Let me see here. Yeah, that's what this one was on this side. There was like this really cool house in the background. Like I call it the slave houses.
I mean, sometimes you're calling it like you see it, bro.
Yeah, but I was really like, at first I started off, I was like, oh, I really love these trees. Like the bark's just peeling off of them. It just looked really cool. And like the greenery going all the way up the tree. I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to start drawing this. And then I looked closer and I'm like, oh, there's like this monument thing sitting here. And then I was looking at the monument. I was like, oh, I can create depth by adding in this house and like all these trees in the background. And I just started going off of it even longer and longer. I was like, oh, I'm just going.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then those cranes, I just did those just because that was our stop.
Those cranes are.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, this is so cool. This is so much fun. Like that's what we were doing. We were just, it was literally just us hanging out, drawing together, getting coffee, getting lunch. We hung out all day. Like, so everybody kind of came in and out throughout the day. We all started at like 8 o'clock in the morning at a coffee shop. Right. We all kind of hung out there for like an hour or two. And then around like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we all kind of moved over to that little park where that gazebo was.
Right.
And we all just kind of hung out there because like there's monuments in there. There was like cannons and things that were just in the yard, like in this park that was just sitting there. So we're like, oh, everybody can kind of start drawing something or whatnot. And we're all over here doing watercolor, pencil, inks. Like everybody just had like any kind of supplies they had. Like, oh, we're going to make something cool. We're just doing some studies. That's all it is. It's just studies. And then we all kind of just walked through. After that, we all went down to the pier area, which was not that far. This was all walking distance. We all went down to this pier area, down the street, and that's where all these cranes were. And everything was like gated off, of course, but like you could still sit there. You could actually get under like some of the cranes that were still there. We're like, oh, we could sit under these cranes. Some of them had big red buttons that were like, ooh, should we press them and see what happens?
Yeah, they probably
they're completely disconnected, but
right.
We were hoping something would happen. Like I was always making the joke with my teacher when he pressed the button. I was like, watch, something behind us, like back where we started, just gonna drop into the ground.
Right. Clunk. Wait, what? Yeah.
But then after that, like we finally went and had lunch, like a late lunch around 3 o'clock. We all went down because like all the way down the way, this is where they're starting to kind of revitalize the area and kind of do what Rhino did in Denver, which is just rebuild everything, kind of try and get population back in there, and also to change it from it being, what do you call it, like ghetto area and all this stuff, like and then just revitalizing it and bringing it all back up. Because there was breweries in that down the street, so I was like, where are we going? Well, we're just kind of like, I'm all excited. I'm like, ooh, spooky area. What are we doing down here? This is kind of cool. Like, all these warehouses are abandoned. There's a car on occasion. This is kind of cool. And he walks us all the way to this brewery. He's like, yeah, this brewery just opened up. They have food. We got this. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then we just hung out there, drew some more for a little bit, just talked, had a few beers, and then the sun went down. And then we all kind of started dispersing from there. But like the last few of us that were all kind of together were like, oh, we don't want to stop yet. We all kind of went out to dinner, like a late dinner, like 9-10 o'clock. But like that brewery was right on the pier. So like you could actually walk out to the pier and all that stuff. And it was just so cool seeing how everything. And that's when I was talking to one of my friends who flew in from Seattle area, Spokane, Seattle area. Yeah. She was there and she's like, oh, you really like this place? I'm like, it's really like nostalgic for me right now. She's like, why? And I was like, because in Denver, we did the same thing. It's called Rhino District. It used to be 5 Points. It used to be like super ghetto. You didn't walk in there if you were white, like yada, yada. And she's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what they're kind of doing here. It was all warehouses. And they just revitalized the whole area. Like, instead of just demolishing it all and rebuilding it, let's just rework it. I'm like, that's so cool that they're doing that here.
Right.
And then my friend walked up and started telling me more about it history wise, because he's from the area. He started just like, oh yeah, he's like, I think he's in his 50s. He's one of my, what's he a teacher? No, he's just one of our friends that's has drawn with my teachers for like 20 plus years. They've been friends for like 20 plus years. They've always gotten together and drawn throughout the cities and all this stuff. So I was like, that's so cool that you have people from 20 years ago that you're still drawing with. Like, to this day.
I think about that too, because like my bestie is living with me at the moment right now too. And
oh, cool.
And I was like, we were just talking about this the other day. I mean, we met in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And for like 15 years, we were, maybe just 10 years, but 10 years after high school, we both just were roommates.
Okay, yeah.
And that lasted until I went to college. And then the second time I went to college. So, you know, so it's kind of funny because he needs a place to stay. So he moves in here and I'm like, well, I'm going to college again. So this seems to make sense. You know, last time we were together, living together as roommates, it was then I left for college. So
that's hilarious. I love it.
Now, of course, he's going to be here while I start college, which is good. Because
is this the friend that was in Japan with you or no?
Yeah, no, it's the friend who's in the U.S. Army.
Yeah,
and the Army's deployment is to Japan. And
that's okay, so it is the friend of mine.
That's that same guy. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's switching to a deployment that'll be permanent. So he'll be there for a few years, and so he wants to, you know, fold down his life here and everything like that. So he moved in with me so that he can be distant from his. It's easier to fold down your life if you're not living in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh yeah, easy.
Stay here with me and for the next few months, next 5 months or so, which is great for me because it will be good to have somebody else here who can, you know, kind of, while I'm trying to figure out what the hell am I doing with my life and making it work with school. How am I making that work?
Right. You know? I mean, one, that too, but also it is nice. Like, I just did I'm moving out on my own. I found a place that's literally what I was paying for the last place I was at, but with utilities and all that. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm paying already.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'm taking it. I'm just going to do it. And I moved out on my own just to try it out for like at least a year. And it's a little studio. It's nice.
Yeah. I'm all about this plan. I think it's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was like, cool, this is awesome. Like, for both of us, like, this is cool. And that's why I'm like, I kind of like it. It's quiet over here. I really enjoy it. I picked, it was actually in my favorite part of Denver, of living in Denver I've ever lived in, which was Glendale area. Glendale, Cherry Creek. I love this area. And that's why I was like, oh shit, this is kind of like I'm taking it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, that I understand, as I live in Arvada, and this is where I grew up. So this is my hometown. So right. I like living out here because I'm like, this is my hometown. I know everything here, you know, like, so I've always loved living out in Arvada. So I get the, you know, what's your part of town? I've been a burbs guy forever.
Well, that's kind of like, that's why I kind of like Glendale's like suburban, but city. So it's like that good mixture of like city suburban.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've done all of it. I've been throughout the whole Denver metro.
Of course.
And I've lived in all of it just to try it out.
I have too. And it depends. I mean, there are certain areas where I'm like, this is no different.
I lived here for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. I think that's what I want to hear. So I am making a motorcycle. You live in Cherry Creek. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, some of them you're like, oh yeah, definitely. And then some of them you're like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with some of these other areas either. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's something terrible. There's a terrible part of town or something like that. It's just that, you know, it's not my thing. There we go.
Motorcycles?
Yeah, a motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Took me a second. I was like, I think that's a motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm doing here is I'm trying to design the. There's a one-wheeled motorcycle, so it just has a front wheel, and it, you know, of course, it's space AG. So the space AG stuff makes it so that it runs on the one wheel, but the kickstand is also where you put your feet. It's a little stand where you know, with the shifter and all those things. Where, but of course, this won't have it because it's electric.
It's a unicycle. He's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Not wrong. But I kind of like it looks space agey and it's different sort of thing, you know?
Right.
So, but I was designing it and I was like, oh, you know, this needs to be more like an X frame. Like there needs to be like a big long frame going forward here. So it's essentially just built on this piece going forward, which is fine. Anyway, yeah. So
I have a very distinct idea of one, but I know it's from a movie or something. I can't remember what it's about. A one-wheeled motorcycle.
you know, mine's doing it doesn't have.
Well, it was like a unicycle because it was like right in the center.
Right.
But it has that like pointy front and back, the pointy end.
Yeah.
I remember what I saw it from now.
Greg was commenting that it's like Tron, like the light cycles from Tron.
I thought Tron was two-wheeled.
Well,
that's what I was saying. I thought you were doing a Tron or a Kira bike because the wheel is so far in the front.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this guy stays stable.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. One-wheeled motorcycle. It depends. I'm just gonna see if it shows up on Google. I swear I saw it. It's like burned in my brain right now, and it's gonna annoy me that I don't. Oh, DBZ.
Oh yeah, okay. Yes,
I forgot they did do it in Dragon Ball. That is where.
Okay, right. Now I gotta look it up in Dragon Ball because now that you said that, I'm like,
yeah, it was Dragon Ball. It wasn't Dragon Ball Z. It was Dragon Ball.
It was the original Dragon Ball. Yeah,
that's why my brain was like, I know I've seen this before. I just don't remember where. Why do I have an idea?
Yeah.
Movies.
Today is my father's 82nd birthday if he were still alive.
Damn.
It would be his 82nd.
Oh, I forgot they did that too.
Yeah, so I do these ring wheels, which at least makes me look somewhat different. But
they're cool. I was just like, I know there's one burn in my brain. I was like, I know where it's at. I just can't remember what it was. And I was like, oh yeah.
No, I wasn't worried. I was just like looking at this and making sure that I'm different than it. Although I don't see a unicycle, I do see two-wheeled going through here.
It was on a cover of one of the Dragon Ball.
Probably, yeah. I do see a.
With what's her name? The blonde-haired, curly-haired, blonde-haired chick.
Yeah. And whatever her name is. Yeah. Yeah, but I like the wheel all forward because it then makes you go, the hell does that thing work? You know?
How's it staying that way?
How does it stay up? You know, I love things like that. Where you're like, how did this work? Because then it looks that you know, because I'm sure that if you were to show some of the things we do today to some of the people like 500 years ago, they'd be like, how does that thing even work? You know, You've got a car, but you've got a carriage, but no horses. How does that even work? You know?
That's like because it's supposed to be a self balancing.
Yeah.
One-wheeled motorcycle is what it's technically supposed to be,
Mhm.
and that's where like you could see that one. You're like, I don't understand. That's how those the big wheels that go all the way around you.
Yeah.
That they built, those are supposed to. That's what those are supposed to be. They're supposed to self-balance themselves.
That makes total sense.
That's why they're able to kind of stay up and whatnot, and that's why you always see them. If you ever watch videos of them, they're constantly doing that, like back forth when you start hitting a certain speed.
Yeah.
That's rocking you. So
that's also probably throttle control of some sort.
Dynamic is the word I was looking
for. Oh, there it is. Rhino motors. Yeah, but that's different. I'm trying to. Okay, good. I mean, I'm not worried per se. I just want to make sure that I'm not doing something dumb, you know. And
that explains it.
Oh. I don't know why I have Kansas's Carry On Wayward Son going through my head. Okay, Brent, Carry On Wayward Son. There you go. I think it's because I'm sitting here looking at my schedules and going, well, when am I going to sit here and work on my comic? I guess when I have free time. You know. And I'll have free time. I just know that this will be slowed down. But I'm not stopping this. I can't do that. I don't think I can now. It's too much part of my life. This comic is, so I'll just keep going. That, and it is part of my degree, if you will. It's part of what I'm doing.
I need to send this over to everybody.
There we go. Add some nice wheels so we can actually see them.
Promo, no prep, our products, inspiration.
Sure. Brent, we'll continue with the story because I will come kill you otherwise.
No, all you gotta threaten him with is maps. You're just gonna say and start making maps forever and ever and ever.
He melts like the Wicked Witch. No. Yeah, because that's what I'm looking for right there is that crossbar. I just want it to be symmetrical. There's no real need for it to be like this, but I like it being symmetrical. So. It is interesting though, thinking about things like Brent as an example. Brent is in another city doing his own thing, but he's still very much part of this unit here that we do in our life. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool. I mean, frankly, I like the fact that Brent is part of the family. You know, he's part of this little group here, whatever this little group you want to call it. But whatever it is, he's part of it. You are too. You know, you even went to San Francisco. Well, if you stay there, you'll still be on this show every so often. You'll pop in.
Oh yeah.
So you'll still be here too.
Very likely. I just got to work some stuff out first.
Well, yeah, of course, you'd have to work out the, where do I live?
There's a lot that I have to work out, but it's definitely, it's worth it. I don't know. It's one of those, after talking to everybody and whatnot, it's not that it's going to be any cheaper, but after talking the heads and whatnot and how online class works for offline, online class works for in-campus class students, it definitely makes a lot of sense now on me living out there, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, I'm with you. It's kind of it started to become logical for me to go back to college, just in general, you know? It was at some point I was yeah.
I don't want to give up college just because I can't afford it anymore. I'm that sucks.
Right. So the idea here is that you'll be on in-state tuition, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I can get on in-state tuition. The price really doesn't change, but I was talking to him, is if you're in-state, there is some grants on that you actually might be able to apply for. Because you're in the state, you can actually probably get in with a few things easier by doing that too. But also, the industry I'm trying to go for, Colorado only has 3 to 5 studios.
Yeah.
The Bay Area has 386.
Right.
So yes, don't get me wrong, it's still considered oversaturated as well, but at the same time, it's the opportunities open up a little bit more, and I might be able to at least get my foot in the door with one company or two, you know.
Right.
But yeah, that's also the same thing what I was trying to say, even my teachers, we would always wanted to check out Colorado. I was I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm during the spring to fall.
Right?
Really, I'm believe me, it is way too cold right now that I know it's not even, I don't even want to go outside anymore. I'll tell you that. We'll be sitting at coffee shops. And they're oh, that sounds boring. I'm and also, everything's dead.
It is.
It's
although this is my favorite time of year because finally the temperature gets to a point that I can tolerate. But I also know that I'm a frickin' polar bear. My door is open right now. Literally have this door right here open because I'm I can't deal with it. It's just too hot.
Right. And I get that. I totally get that.
Sure. But that's me. And I know that's me. You know what I mean? I know that's not anybody else. That's just the way I am. Man, totally cool. You know?
I'm over here with my temperature at least in the 60s.
Yeah.
I'm I need at least a little bit warmer than this. This is fine. I have a hoodie on. I'm good.
It's the living with your roommate who's also not as cold-blooded as you. Do you need something?
Are you currently streaming?
Yes. Do you need something that requires me to not stream? Actually, I've got Colton on here, so I can walk away. Do you need me to walk away for a second?
Well, I got bounced off of my meeting about 7 or 8 times in the last half hour.
Yeah.
So, we need to talk about that.
We need to do something. That's why I was saying move the router up here.
That could be it. It also could be
Maybe.
We'll have to figure that out. Not for a second, but for a second.
Oh, yeah. Do you, hey, James, you want me to just kill the stream?
At 11.
Oh, yeah, at 11, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm out by 11.
Okay, because I have an important meeting I have to be in and run at 11 between now and then.
Okay. Yeah, he's saying that we're having streaming problems, which does not surprise me because I don't think I have the world's awesomest internet. Brent says hi, James. For better or for worse. But he doesn't need me to stop streaming right now. But we are both on wireless, and the router is downstairs. And I've been looking at this going, this house was rigged for cable, and it's I'm like, I could just run the cable up here and then connect the router up here, and then we could just hardwire his and mine into the router direct.
Right.
I've been meaning to do that for a couple of years since I started streaming, because we do every so often this thing just stops working.
I was going to say, I was wondering if that's the reason, also another reason why you like freeze up every once.
Yeah, it's why I freeze up every so often. And
I was like, damn, what's up with your internet that you're not like, but also like I've always hardwired, so.
Yeah, and I've thought about this, and I'm like, I could hardwire straight in. I wanted to do that anyway.
I mean, I have my computer set up for both, so hardwire and the wireless.
Yeah.
So if, let's say, the hardwire does fall or something like that, it's still going to catch something.
Oh, yeah.
Or vice versa,
But this is how I get work done. So this is kind of important for my work, but also, if he's going to live here, he's got to be in his meetings. He works from home as well, so.
Right.
And I like the fact that Brent is taunting him.
Oh yeah, I was saw I say Marines. I was like, oh no,
it's all good.
It.
Yeah, it cracks me up, because I think that there's always a certain amount of humor to all of the inter-service rivalry. Because of course, sorry Brent, but I allied to the Navy. There's nothing you can do about that, So it's like, although it was funny, we were talking about this the other night, and Donald, who is Navy, was like, "You guys really Space Force?" And I'm like, "That's fair. I'll take Space Force." If I was 20 right now, I would have joined the Space Force. I totally would have. Their dress uniform.
Oh no, believe me. You know how hard it is right now when I mentioned to my school, I was like, hey, I need funding. And as soon as, because like my financial aid's capping, they actually the ones that told me. Guess who contacted me 2 weeks later? The Marines. And I was like, ain't I too big? Like, I thought I was kind of old for being considerable for this. I'm like, oh, we can definitely work around that. I was like,
yeah, they can hire me. I can still go into service. I just can't be an officer.
I thought you instantly go officer if you're over a certain age.
I was under the impression I couldn't go in I couldn't go in as an officer. But I mean, hey, who knows, right? Anything could happen. You can join up at the age of 32 or 34.
I am 34. So I'm at the cap.
We're just doing the Colton, you're such a baby face,
That's fair. I'll take it.
You're like, that's fair. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like the Air Force will allow us up to the early 50s. Space Force probably would too. I've thought about it. Space Force, especially, and I hate that.
I could see.
I hate
guys, like
Force.
For you, I could see you doing Air Force too.
Yeah.
You have an IQ enough to do it.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, wait.
Now, Brent, I'm joking. Dude, I know so many people in the military. That's why I'm like, I know half their jokes.
Oh yeah. No. The best part is, I think Brent is more. Brent is our people.
Regardless Brent is totally with us.
Inter-service jokes we make, Brent will still always be.
It's just like I literally came from working for FedEx Express. Half the people I worked with were all military, and all we did was talk shit to each other. So I learned a lot of military lingo of like, oh, how do we fuck with this person?
My stepmom is sending me texts saying we'd be trying to put 82 candles on his cake today if he was still around, and I'm like, aw,
That's cute.
it's very sweet. Yeah, and I was just thinking about him yesterday. Because, well, I mean, I think about him every day. Obviously, he was my dad. Like, but I was just thinking about him yesterday because I was going through my shirts and stuff like that, and I was just kind of organizing my closet and sorting my closet shirts out, and a lot of them I stole from Dad when after he'd passed. We were gonna take all of his shirts and stuff and give them to Goodwill, but first my sister looked at me and said, "You two are about the same size. Do you want to pull anything out of here before we take it to Goodwill?" And so I took a lot of his shirts because he had some pretty nice button-up shirts that were like purple and some lavenders, and a really nice red one. You know what I mean? And I like color. I can't do the black and white stuff, so that's just not me. I can't stand it. So I went on ahead and took those while I was sorting through them in the closet, and I was like, man, this is a nice shirt. I was just thinking about my dad was just like so into nice, really kind of expensive shirts. And I was like, geez, Dad, these are some serious shirts. And I'm like, maybe I'll wear a couple of these whenever I go to school. But I was like, because I also got my dad's pea coat.
Nice.
So
that's always nice to have.
Yeah.
I went out and bought my own one day.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. I'm so tired of this
size. But navy pea coat, man, that thing. And it is navy pea coat. Like, of course, my dad was ex-Army, and so if he got a military thing, he did not get the knockoff military thing. He actually got a military issue thing. Like. It's funny how we all make jokes about the military, but once you've been in the military, it's like, well, especially if they've had to survive because of the stuff that they were wearing. So, the boots and things like that. But yeah, it was just cool.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you because that's what words I was looking for. When we all first started doing the RTG stuff and whatnot, I was in sales. So I had to dress nice when I was outside of it.
Yeah, but I've been thinking a lot about that because you do dress nice. You clean up really well. Like when you put on your full get up, you really do clean up well. And I've been thinking about that. I'm like, maybe the era of t-shirts and cargo pants might be coming to an end for me.
Oh, I found out ways to still dress nice and wear cargo pants. Believe me.
That's what I mean. I'm just saying maybe
I still need the pockets. That's my problem now.
Yeah. No. It's totally cool. I'm just sitting there going, maybe that era is coming to an end. Well, I really love waistcoats. I do.
Yeah, I was saying more the aero side though. Like it is. I watched that movie called The Intern. And it was actually pretty good. I was actually really impressed. And she makes a comment in there. It's like, whatever happened to the guys that dress up every morning? Like they're always clean shaven. They're always not clean shaven, but like either like clean shaven or styled. And then they're in button downs. They're in like blazers. They're like ready to work every day. And I was like, that was my grandfather. And after he passed, I was like, I really need to get back into that because I was getting lazy there for a minute. I was just like t-shirts, shorts. I really just didn't care. And I was like, after I saw that, I was like, that was my grandfather. And I had so much respect for him every time I saw him because he was always ready for something. It didn't have to be anything, but he was always outside the door, looked like he was ready to work.
Yeah.
If it came to it. And I was like, I do miss that. I do miss those days. So like I kind of went that direction.
I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking about this.
I met some friends also. Like I've had some friends also that are like one of my friends. She's Russian. Yeah, somewhere in that area. I know that. And she's very much that. Like if I walk outside the door, there's no such thing as sweatpants.
Yeah.
And I was like, I totally agree with that concept though. But like I'd kind of like that no sweatpants if I'm going outside. No, like at least look put together. And for guys, it's usually easier than
It is.
because we can like throw on a baseball cap, throw on a nice shirt, nice jacket. We can walk out the door, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like that dress down from that scenario, you know.
Yes.
But like it was just one of those ones. I was like, oh, I want to do it. That's why I was like, if you just got a whole bunch of that stuff for your dad.
Yeah.
And also, if you go back into teaching and stuff, like full-time teaching, you can at least be like a nicely dressed teacher walking in the door, and people will be like, "Oh, this guy means business," you know?
Right. Right. I don't know. I've been, just digging through his stuff, and that's another thing that my buddy James does that I really like. He's always
James do it too.
Yeah, he's always well dressed, well put together. I mean, even and he's always been that way.
But also, like, hey, vacation's vacation.
Yeah, but then I can wear my button-up Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, I wore a few button-up shirts on my vacation when I was running around, but like I at least found some like nice long sleeves, some nice pants, like things like that. That when I was running around with everybody, they're like, actually, it was funny. Half of them, because if you ever been to the Bay Area, every city in the Bay Area kind of has its own culture.
Yeah. Well,
and all of that
in like a lot of big cities. Tokyo is definitely one of those.
Colorado, Tokyo is definitely big on that. Colorado, not so much.
No.
Like I realized that after like going there and coming back, I was like, no, all the cities here are kind of the same.
Yep.
The city has its own like a little bit of culture to it, but not enough that like everybody around it kind of adapts to it, you know?
Yeah.
And that was actually the funny thing. Like half of my friends out there were like, "What city would you live in, Colton?" Just by the way I looked, and I was like, "Wait, what's this mean? What are you guys doing? Are you stereotyping me?"
Right.
And they all were. They were like, "No, yeah, we're just trying to figure out if you actually lived out here, what city do we think you would actually like adapt to faster?" And I was like, "What city would it be?" And we never actually went to that part of the city, which kind of sucks because I was kind of
you're like, I belong here though.
Because they were saying Berkeley. They're like, you'd be fine in Berkeley. We think you fit perfectly in the Berkeley. Like as soon as we saw you walk up, and we're all just kind of like Berkeley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Knowing my little knowledge of Californian culture, you definitely would fit into Berkeley.
Yeah, and that's where I was like, I was like, so next trip we're going to Berkeley? They're like, yeah, next trip we're definitely going to Berkeley. If we knew how you were beforehand, we would have probably did something in Berkeley just to see if we can get you to stay. And I was like, wow.
That's cool.
Oh, houseboat would be cool. That sounds like fun.
Houseboats always sound neat, and then I get on them and I'm like, like there's something I don't like the style of the houseboat. You know what I mean? Like I could do living on a yacht, but it'd have to be mobile. Because I would sit there and just feel like I'm on a machine that doesn't do anything. And that offends that part of me that loves machines, you know? Like I don't know how to explain that other than, like I just feel like I'd like, you know what I mean? The entire time I'd be like, this thing needs to do something, you know?
Right. Nah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't, there's something weird about, like, I really get Brent Schooley. That makes total sense to me.
What?
His schoolie. We wants to take a school bus and convert it to a house.
Oh, yeah.
I dig that. As long as we never take the engine out, and as long as it can,
as long as it's still mobile,
right? Because I mean, like, it's got to stay mobile, and all the wheels, we'd have to keep all the tires inflated and all that stuff. Because otherwise, it's like, what are we doing?
Why are we stuck?
Why are we stuck? It's a machine. It should be mobile. It should do its thing. So. I'm kind of just really having fun doing this. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. I just enjoy it. So there.
I'm just trying to figure out dynamic design. Write out what dynamic design really is in my head.
Right.
Like, I already have ideas in my head. I'm just trying to put it into words real quick, so I can always reference back to it. And also, so my teacher's happy.
Yeah. Well, dynamics is definitely something I struggle with all the time.
I mean, the cool thing about dynamic design, like, here, let me flip back over so you can see what I'm doing. Other camera. Yeah, like dynamic design, like, it's always about like something big in the foreground, and then it's like all this small stuff in the background here, and then you have all these crazy lines just leading to it, and that's very dynamic.
Yeah,
in that sense. But also, like in comics, it's one of those ones like you'll have like this character. It's like jumping in the air. They're like in a fight sequence or whatnot. And then you have another character down here, like claws and shit. There's like this big, huge fight sequence going on, you know? Like you can see them. And this is also where like comic lines kick in a lot too. But since we're in an, like that, like, yeah, there, like there's your son right here. You just make this person all blacked out and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like in that sense of like, you're like, oh, cool. Very dynamic, very in your face. Like everybody can see what's going on. There's some kind of huge action, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what's sort of really cool about dynamic design, don't get me wrong. But like at the same time, it's like when you have to do 15 ideas real quick, but also here's another one here. Here's my reference board. There's also dynamic design. There we go. Also can be with colors, like these, like very, like something happened here that was just dramatic, but with these colors of reds and whatnot, and blacks and these, those are very dynamic. Or like these dragons, very dynamic. This like circle shape going all the way into like this volcano is a very dynamic thing as well. But like this guy right here, I found, look at these concepts. Wow. Super dynamic.
Look at that.
For like cities and whatnot.
But it's not that. I love the way the building goes through that ring. That is just like, oh, I don't know.
Like the angle too of like that 3-point perspective almost. Like it creates that very dynamic design to it.
Totally does, yeah.
But even like some of these right here, like the way he does these air clouds and swooshes and all this stuff, like it creates a dynamic feel to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are the things, like I found this guy on ArtStation. This guy literally, I was just typed in dynamic design and this guy popped up, and this is a whole sequence that he did for, I think, a video game. And I was like, these are perfect references just right here. This is all I need right here. Is just look at these and it gives me all these ideas. Because a lot of the projects I've been doing lately, I've been falling back on to my original concept. Oh yeah, and then you got Star Wars. That's a very dynamic design.
Right.
You got your characters running.
Yeah, but
lasers flying.
Is that Doug Chang?
Ryan.
Oh yeah. See, because like she seems, that's the problem I have. She doesn't seem, I don't know why, she doesn't seem very dynamic herself.
The characters, yeah, awesome. Everything here, yeah, the foreground, the characters don't really feel very dynamic. Right. But with the TIE fighters coming in from behind and shooting the lasers, it creates a little bit more dynamicness.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but it does sort of feel like I don't know, you know, the lasers make it dynamic, but on the same token, I'm kind of looking at it going, she doesn't feel very dynamic, you know?
No, but also like there's a few like I can look at this and see some of the problems. Her characters look very flat.
Yeah.
Which don't really create that much dynamic. Like literally Rey in this, her whole body just seems super flat.
Yeah.
And that's just because they didn't work enough on like building certain things and whatnot. But like also they're running, so like a lot of that clothing, if it was moving in different directions, it would actually start making that character look more 3D.
That was
And
what I
not
was
as
thinking too. Yeah.
But also out of this one, you can clearly tell the person knows how to work with ships.
Yeah.
Work with not organic, but hard surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
And like the organic materials, those are what's going flat in this because they're not a character person. Cool idea though. I like the idea.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely one of those. But yeah, that's where like I was actually explaining to my teacher, he's like, people don't listen to my videos all the time, and I tell them this, and I actually explained it to him, like for me specifically. I was like, the reason I listened to all of his videos when I was I was like, I always wanted to see if what I thought was wrong with their piece was exactly what you were going to say.
Right.
Because I wanted to see if I was actually seeing the same things that you're looking for, but also seeing if I can see what you're looking for, it means I'm going to be able to see it in my artwork. And when I told him that, he was like, huh, that's actually kind of cool. I never thought of it that way. I was like, yeah, no, it was my way of actually making sure that I'm actually processing everything you're telling me. But two, being able to know that if let's say, I never actually thought of teaching him ever as a profession for me specifically.
Right. Sure.
Until I actually went to my teacher's classes and actually sat in on their classes and watched them and actually participated. And I was like, you know what? Part-time teaching, not a bad deal. I was like, I could actually see myself actually jumping in and doing this, even though like my school specifically has like a 2-year, it's like 2-3 years before you can be considered a teacher at the academy.
Yeah.
And that's because they want you to go out for the 2-3 years, get industry experience.
Do your job. Yeah. Do what you're supposed to do. So you.
And then if we offer you the job after that, you can have the experience.
Yeah.
For my schoolie. Yeah, you definitely, when you have kids, it definitely makes it harder to do that nomad life. Unless if they are already homeschooled. If you already were doing homeschool beforehand, you usually keep nomadic.
Yeah, that's the thing. My kid isn't necessarily in school to get the education. My kid is in school right now to learn how to work with other people.
Oh, because he's good at the education side. He's just my human side is the hard part.
Yeah, he could pull anything out of anywhere. You know, his reading level is way into the college level at this point. You know, the math level is very, very high. Academically, that child could operate in the real world right now. The problem is, socially, that kid just got into an argument and a fight yesterday in class.
With his teacher?
An 8th grader. You know what I mean? He didn't actually get into a fist fight, but they were arguing over a thing. And he took the thing from another student. The student said, "Don't take my things." The teacher said, "Don't take the thing." And he just started getting into a shouting match with everybody. And I'm like, this is 8th grade. That sounds like something a kindergartner would do or a first grader. This is not what an 8th grader does, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, that's why you're in school. You're not in school right now to, you know, that's the whole thing. It's like, you're not in school because you need to learn the academics. You're in school because this is still a reality and it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Traveling X-ray tech would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool.
That is something I know the industry does need too, from what I've heard. Like X-ray techs, good X-ray techs are hard to find. But a traveling one, that'd be interesting. I mean, they do it with like dentist wise, they have traveling root canal people, traveling nurses. Like they have everything, so I could see a traveling X-ray tech be a good one, and they make good money too. You just need to use someone's facilities.
Yeah.
$2K a week, damn, make $1K more than me.
Wow, $2K a week's not bad at all.
That's actually pretty good. Especially if you're on the road.
Yeah, especially if your living expenses are, you know, if you put gas in the schoolie, you know.
Well, one, gas in the schoolie. Two, you got to have a radiator. Or, like, I'm just thinking about all the stuff that you technically need for being nomadic. And then you have to pay for campsites and that too if you want to like stay at a spot for long enough to like refill and all that stuff, which most campsites usually allow like RVs. And you'd be technically considered an RV.
Yeah.
So yeah, $2K a week would be perfect if you were doing that. That sounds like fun. Now that I think about it.
It does. I think I'd get.
Brent, stop giving me ideas.
Wouldn't do so good, but
I got enough of them. I don't need them. I don't need more.
Yeah, I think it'd drive me crazy after a spell, but
I think I would too. But I mean, it would be if you had. Personally, I think if I had someone with me,
it wouldn't be so bad.
I think I would be better off if it was two, like me and someone else, because like I would, like if something did happen, there's someone else there to help out. You know, like something that is you needed to.
Even if it's just something like blowing a tire on one of those bigger and larger critters, you know.
Yeah.
Taking a tire and having to replace the dumb thing would be a ass.
Well, one like replacing a tire or, sounds hard, but like replacing tires or pretty much a lot of stuff mechanical. If something breaks down on the side of the road, hey, I need one of you to like go into town, find what we need. I'm gonna keep trying to see if I can fix this while you're gone.
Yep.
And make sure everything else is good. So if something else is wrong while you're in town, you're buying it.
Right.
You know. You know, like Frodo and Sam, share the load. Yeah.
This thing's got vertical holders or vertical handlebars. Because it should match all of the other things that you use to drive.
Right. But yeah, that whole steampunk idea that I had back in the day, I've been actually using that a lot for my ideas for a lot of this stuff of like, which has actually been great because I'm like, I've thought about it. I'm like, I might actually bring back that comic, like maybe do it as a comic book, maybe do it as a game, something. Helps out with like creating a pitch or something with it. Like this actually kind of works out pretty well. Oh, I missed it. Stupid players.
James is like, it kicked me off of my meetings. We're gonna have to do something about this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that.
We can do plenty of stuff. What do you need?
Yeah, I'm like, I can do all kinds of stuff, but I am not 100% sure that's because I was streaming. I might be, but not.
I don't think it's because you're streaming, really. I think it's because, like you said, the router's so far away and you guys are both running off
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
we're both on Wi-Fi, and that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be an issue. I think if we hardwire.
So if you guys are hardwired, you guys should be fine. I mean, how many megabits are you guys running?
I have no earthly idea.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Let's say for me, I'm only running like 200-300, so, but it's just me.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. I'm running 230, looks like 239, 240 down. Give or take.
I'd say it might be because there's both of you trying to do stuff like that at the same time with 200.
250 probably, give or take, and 11 up. That's not bad.
No, it's not terrible for at least one person. When you're streaming, it does take up a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of bandwidth to stream, but normally I stream when everybody else is not.
Right. And that's usually why, like, you'll be fine because it's just you. But if he's also trying to stream too for meetings, it's gonna
Right. That could be a little bit more of a problem child.
Okay, Brian. Coming in with the big numbers, huh? I see how it is.
Yeah, 500 down and 10 up. Yeah. All right. So this is what it looks like in travel mode. And this is what it looks like not in travel mode. All right. Let's get these two separated.
I'm thinking what? March, April, depending on how everything rotates out for temperature wise. I think that'd be a good time to do like outdoorsy stuff.
Yeah. I'm in on the outdoorsy stuff.
Awesome. Get a group together if you know anybody that might actually want to join in.
Right.
I was trying to think. Actually, this is actually a conversation me and one of my teachers got into. He's like, no, I have convention friends as well, and a lot of them, they don't want to do that kind of stuff. Like, they'd rather go sit at a coffee shop for hours and like work on their work on their comics, work on their product, more than go out and just do like a day worth of just like art goofing off and like practicing their skills and getting better at what they're doing, kind of thing.
Well, Raph and I have been doing Whatnot.
Yeah.
And we've been doing live sketches. And my biggest problem is I still have problems just firing off the sketch with all of the correct proportions.
Mm-hmm.
I always have to go back and futz with the stupid proportions. You know what I mean? Like I have to mess with the eye width. I have to mess with everything. And it's always so difficult. And it's just such a pain in the butt. And I'm not, and it's still one of those things where it's like, I really need to just go out and do more practicing of sketch that dude right over there. You know what I mean? Fast. Get it fast. Get it in there. Get it. Work it fast. You know. Really
get it down. Just get it done. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
That was actually the cool part, is because we did a quick drawing event there while we were there, like in one of my classes, which was 70 drawings in an hour, like 2 hours. Because the guy, our model, he sits there for pretty much like we did like 21-minute sketches. And you just pick something to kind of work on, and you just kind of work it out. And like I would do that for like whatever I saw within that first minute of like him. As soon as he posed, I was like, I like that hand. I would draw that hand in 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then he would pose again. I'm like, I like how his torso, how it's just contorting just the right way. And I would just do a quick draw, 1 minute, get that down, just get it down as fast as possible and just knock it out. And then if I didn't see anything that I liked, and I liked how the whole pose was going, I would just try and get the quick gesture down.
Right.
Of just how that worked. And it actually, I think it helps out a lot with everybody to do stuff like that. Like that's what that monthly drawing thing, figure drawing class at the Mori.
That's what I love about that drawing class of Memento Mori. And I missed the last one.
I missed the last two. I get it.
I could have done it.
Well, when it's Sunday and I keep getting scheduled to work Sundays. I'm like, guys.
Usually I do too, but I haven't been on this last month. I was clear. But yeah, just kind of aggravating.
Well, I was getting out of it there for a minute, but then because the other bartender that was there, they were working it.
Yeah.
And then they just upped and quit. So then I got thrown into doing Sundays. I'm like, that's fine, I'll do it. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I kind of want that Sunday on occasion.
Right?
Like not just once a month.
Sunday.
That's all I ask for is the once a month Sunday. And they're just like, well, we'll figure it out. You just gotta let us know. And I'm like, you don't even push out the schedule in time for me to figure it out. And I have to try and convince someone else to let me have it.
Yeah.
Because they don't put out the schedule till Thursday.
Right.
And it's Thursday to Saturday. So I have no idea what's happening that next Sunday.
Right.
Until I see Thursday, I'm like, well, shoot. I was hoping to have it off this week, like I was supposed to.
Right. And here we are. So.
And like this new bartender we got, he's just been very difficult about a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hey, we changed your schedule. Why didn't you look at it? He's like, oh, my schedule was still the same last like 3 days ago. And I was like, that's when we changed it, was when you walked in 3 days ago. You didn't listen, look at the schedule.
Right.
He's like, well, I already made appointments and stuff like that. I was like, dude, you're killing us right now, because all of us are ready to come in at the times we're supposed to, like we were told to. Because we're bartenders / food servers. It changes for us because it also depends on percentage of hotel. If we go from 30% that whole week and it's showing 30% when we make the schedule, all right, cool. But guess what? Monday comes around, we're now at 90% because everybody wants to come into town this week.
Right.
We're going to need everybody to kind of start adjusting their schedule a little bit. You're still working the day, but it may not be the time that you wanted, you know? Because we had to move things around. And that's like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's ideal. But at the same time, it's usually like, hey, if I'm working that day, I rarely make plans on the days I work. It's always the days off.
Right.
Like today, my plan today is to go finally buy a new printer scanner. I'm going to go down to Micro Center and actually grab one because they actually had one. And I was like, I like that one because I have a printer and I have a scanner. But now I'm finally in that spot where like I need to downsize. And they're both okay, but I know I found one that was there that does both. And it's a good one for both. And I was like, you know what? I should probably just find someone that wants these, get rid of them, sell them, you know, just get rid of these, and then just go get me one that's a one and done, you know?
Right.
Because if I start doing conventions again, I would like to like print some of my stuff, maybe save on some cost. You know? So yeah, Micro Center, best place.
Don't forget the fax.
Everybody needs a fax.
Right. We're just
I haven't had to do a fax in like 6 years.
Yep.
I actually had to ask. Last time I had to do a fax, I had to ask first. I'm like, how do I do this again? They're like, you know the phone number? I'm like, I think so. They're like, all right, put it in. We'll see what comes out. I'm like, okay. We're just sitting tonight. I'm like, watch, it's gonna be the wrong person.
Let's see if this works. I'm gonna have to move on. I think.
I know. I was keeping track at the time.
Yeah, me too. I'm just kind of like sitting there like, I'm supposed to go for a walk around the park with my buddy.
I need to do all that stuff. I need to
and not
get moving, clean up some stuff. At least get 5 of these done before I go do stuff today.
Yep. Well, I've done my little magazine or my little motorcycle, which is what we will have in our 3rd volume. I think the funniest part about this is that it's going to be an entire scene with Alex taking the motorcycle out and the cat Max talking to her, and I've decided the cat's just going to be sitting on the air next to her because it's an AI, so it's a hologram. Yeah. So he's just like sitting nicely next to her as she's going down the road at like 60 miles an hour, and he's just sitting there, next to her, because it doesn't really matter, right? So there's this like bike going down the road with this sitting cat next to it, It's gonna be fun. We had a cute scene. I think that'll be funny. Crack me up. So that's where we're
awesome. Well, if you're on to later night, let me know and I'll come on.
Yeah, I'll be on tonight. Tonight's Wednesday, yeah. So yeah, I'll be on tonight like normal. So if you want to join me, that'd be way awesome.
At 10, right?
I'd love to have you around. Well, I enjoy your company too, Brent. So okay, guys, I'm gonna get out of here.
Nice seeing you guys.
Let everybody let him have the bandwidth. I'll talk to you guys later. See you all later, and keep your eyes on the stars. Good night.